Audacity is a wonderful audio editing tool. It's very easy to use if you understand some of the basic settings. It is free to download and probably one of the one that is used the most by all beginner podcasters. But Audacity can be extremely painful if you don't know what are the right settings. And it can be extremely painful if you don't understand some of the basic settings in Audacity. So in today's video, I'm going to show you 5 basic and the most important settings that you need to do on Audacity before you get started with recording your podcast. This will prevent a lot of the unnecessary editing headaches that you would otherwise have to face if you don't do these settings right. So let's get on. Hello and welcome to TPU TV. This is Dilip. This is a channel where I share a lot of simple, practical and implementable podcasting tips. And in today's video, I'm going to show you some of the basic settings, some of the very important but basic settings in Audacity before you get started with recording your first episode. Because these settings are something that will get you good quality MP3 files, will avoid some of the latency issues, will get you good audio quality, and also take care of some of the basic issues that most beginner podcasters face when recording their podcast episode. These settings aren't very difficult, it's very simple, and once you set it up, it should be there in your Audacity settings for all of your future recordings. So it is a one-time activity. Let me share my screen with you and show you how to go about setting these simple yet 5 important settings in Audacity. Okay, so here I am on the Audacity screen. Now, these are very simple and initial setups that you should ideally be doing so that you save a ton of time doing the unnecessary edits because of the problems that arise because of these settings being incorrect. So, first of all, let's start with the basics. First thing that you need to check is on the audio setup under the recording device, you need to ensure that your recording device is selected. Now, if you see, by default, Audacity picks up the default microphone on your computer. So you might want to change it to the microphone that you're using to record your audio, which is this one in my case. So I've selected it, and now you can see that the USB audio codec is what is selected. Now, this is the first thing that you need to do. Then you need to check that you're recording on a stereo channel and not on a mono channel. I always recommend recording on a stereo channel even if you are doing a solo episode. So go about selecting the stereo channel. Now, the third thing that you need to do is to look at the host option here. Now, under host, you will see 3 of these options. Now, basically, what an audio host means is that it is the interface between Audacity and your recording equipment. Now, MME is a pretty old technology, and the latest ones are Windows Direct Sound and Windows WASAPI. But I would still recommend keeping it at MME because Windows Direct Sound will have some amount of latency, though Audacity supports these latest versions. But still, Windows Direct Sound will have some amount of latency. So does Windows WASAPI, which is the latest one. So I would recommend keeping it at MME. Ensure that you're not selecting any of the others and keeping it at MME. Now, the next one is to go to audio settings. Now, under audio settings, there are a couple of things that you might want to change. You can see here that the MME option is already selected. The playback device is here, which is the speakers. You can change it to a headphone if you have a headphone or if you're using a headphone. Now, you'll be able to find that under the drop down here. Under the recording device, ensure that you're using the USB audio codec. The channels are selected to stereo. Now, the project sample rate. Now, this is something where by default Audacity will be keeping it at a 44:100 in both these cases, which is okay, which is something that you can obviously go and use. But for a better quality audio, I would recommend changing it to 48,000 hertz in the default sample rate and the project sample rate. Then the next setting that you need to ensure is right is the default sample format, which is to be selected to the 32-bit float. By default, it will be at a 24-bit. You might want to change it to a 34-bit float. If your Audacity installation has a default at a 32-bit float, then great. Otherwise, do change it to a 32-bit float and then hit the OK button. So those are some of the basic settings that you need to do. Now, the next one that you might want to keep in mind is this piece, which is the recording levels. Now, you see here that the recording levels are at 54%. And let me quickly show you what happens when I'm doing a recording here. This is a test recording. You can see here that this shows a listening level here. This is basically the level that my audio is coming to. I would want it to reach at least to about -2 decibels. So what I do is I increase this. Now here, if you see, it is coming up to about -12. I would want to further increase this a little more. Now it is coming up to about -2. You can see here that the levels are at about -2. So you need to ensure that you are adjusting this so that this reaches up to about -2 to about -3, but ensure that it doesn't go into a red. Let me quickly show you how that happens. So if I increase this to a maximum here, it still comes to up to about -6, which is good. And you can see here that it is slightly touching the yellow levels now. So if your audio is extremely high, you can do this on your audio mixer as well. If your audio levels are extremely high, this will come to about 0 and you will start to see a red bar there. And if it happens, then your audio will start clipping and the audio will not be very clear. So ensure that this recording monitoring is on and that you are always ensuring that your volume lies in the yellow to the green levels and that it reaches up to about -2 when at the most loudest of your volume. So ensure that it doesn't cross that so that you get crisp and better audio levels. So those are the basic 5 settings that you need to do on Audacity even before getting started with your recording. So those were those simple 5 settings. And I'm sure it is not difficult to do these settings, but before you get started with recording your first episode, after you've downloaded Audacity, ensure that you're going ahead and checking if these settings are set up right. And if not, then go and do these settings the right way. This will help you save a lot of time in the unnecessary headaches that you will have to face while editing your podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, then don't forget to click the thumbs up button so that others are also able to find this video and benefit from them. And if you liked what I shared today, then you might want to subscribe to my channel. I release a video every Thursday. This is a channel where I share a lot of podcasting tips that are simple, practical, and implementable. So subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button below, and don't forget to hit the bell notification so that you stay updated with all of the latest videos that I release. And if you're new to podcasting, then you might want to join my free 10-day e-course on how to get started with a podcast. It has everything that you will need to get started with your own podcast. So why pay for something when you can get it for free? That's all that I have for today's video. I'll be back again the next week with another interesting video around podcasting. Until then, keep watching TPU TV and you all have a wonderful rest of the day.